Hello and welcome. I am Raghav, and in this session of CircleCI, we are going to do something very interesting. We are going to do a demo, and in this demo, we are going to add and install Git on our local system, and then we will commit and push a project folder onto a repository on GitHub, and then we will also connect this repository on CircleCI pipeline so that whenever we make any changes and we push our changes to this repository, it will automatically trigger the pipeline on CircleCI. Okay, so let's see uh, a demo on this. I will go step by step. We will start from scratch, so do not worry if you are a complete beginner. I will tell you each and every command. So let's get started, and first let us understand what exactly we are going to do. Okay, so first we are going to create a repository on GitHub. You can also use an existing repository, and if you are not using GitHub, you are using Bitbucket or GitLab, that is fine. So we have to have a repository. We will create a repository, and then on our local system we will install Git. Then we will create a folder, you can call it a project folder, and we'll add some data, and then we will commit and push the changes from this folder to the repository that is there on GitHub. Okay, so we will commit and push changes from our local system to the GitHub repository, and then on CircleCI we are going to create a pipeline, and in this pipeline we will add the same GitHub repository, and we'll also add the triggers, that is on a push event this pipeline should get executed. Okay, after this we are going to see the demo where we will push something to the GitHub repository from our local system using Git commands. So we will make some changes in the project folder, and we will update, and we will push the changes to the GitHub repository from our local system using Git commands, and this should automatically trigger the pipeline on CircleCI. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. This is going to be very interesting. Let us start the steps. So the first step is we have to install Git on our system, and we can also check if it's already installed by using the command git space -v or git space -- version. So let me check on my system. So I'm on Windows, you can be on Windows or Mac, both the commands are same. So here if I run the command git space -v or git space version, you can see Git is not installed on my system. So let us quickly install Git. I will say git install or git download. You can go to this link, which is git-hcm.com and /downloads, and here you can download Git for your operating system. We have for Mac, Windows, Linux, and here by default it will show you for your operating system. So you can download it from here, and here you can see we have options. So here we have all these options. We have standalone installer, so it is for 64-bit ARM64 setup. Then you have all these options. Okay, so you can quickly go to your system. So let's say if you're on Windows, you can go to this PC or my computer, do a right click here and go to properties, and this will show you the details about your operating system. So here in my case it is a 64-bit operating system. The same you can do on Mac. So if you're on Mac, you can go to your about this Mac, and you can see here the details. You can go to more info, and here you can see the details about your Mac, and you can see you can select what you want to download. So in my case it is going to be this Windows 64 setup installer, so it will download, and let me check in the downloads folder, and yes, here it is. So you can just double click and run the installer. Okay, so you can read this and then say next, and here it will send by default to this C program files. If you want, you can browse and select some different directory. So let's say in my case I want to keep it in my D and tools, and let me create a folder here for Git, or I think it should create a folder itself. Let's see. I will go and select my D drive, tools, and say OK, and yes, it will create a folder itself. Git. Next, let me just delete this folder. I'll say back, and here I will keep all this as it is. Okay, so by in case you find a option for adding it to the path variables, you should check that, and I'm keeping everything default here, just pressing next, and install. So it will install Git on this system. So this is a straightforward process. Still, in case you face any issues, you can always let me know, or you can also check online for the solution just in case you face any issues. It's just installing Git on your system. And it's almost done. And this is done. I will just say finish. And now let us check. If I again run the command, I'm pressing the up arrow on my keyboard to go to the last command. And see, I'm still getting not recognized because this command prompt is maintaining the old session. I will exit from here and open a new command prompt, and now I will say git space hyphen v or git space hyphen hyphen version, and I can see Git is there on the system. Now one more thing that you can see is you should also have got git bash. So if you just search, you will have git bash on your system now. So git bash is also a command line tool, and the advantage of using git bash is it here you can run your Linux command as well. So for example, let me show you some differences. If I go to my normal command prompt on Windows, and if I have to list the files and directory of a folder, I will use the command dir. And if I use ls, which is the command used in Linux or Mac, if I say ls, here you can see it is not recognized, but this will work if I do the same thing here on git bash. If I say dir, it is working. If I say ls, it is still working. Okay, so you can use your Linux Mac commands as well here, and also it gives you this different colors, color coded thing, so it is easy to work. So this is also one good thing that you get with Git. You get Git bash. Sometimes people install just Git bash so that they are able to use all these Linux commands on Windows. So again, you can see I am saying clear, and this is clearing the screen. On Windows command prompt we use cls. Okay, so this is done. Our Git is installed. Now we will clone a repo from GitHub, or we can create a new project on our local system and then we can push it to GitHub. So let's do the other way. Let's do first create a new project. I'm creating a new fresh project, or by project I just mean a folder on our system which we can think as a project folder. So what we are doing now is like in the real world, what we do, we have our data, our project folder, we work on our local system, and then finally when we make changes we push it to the repository online. So let us create a project folder. You can go anywhere on your system. Let's say I go to my D drive. I have a projects folder. I will create a new folder. I will say demo project, and inside this I am creating a folder, or let's just use this demo project folder. Okay, so this is the folder. So let's assume this is our project folder, and inside this I can create some data. Let's create a new text document, Okay, I will say test doc.txt, and I can write something. This is line 1 and save and close it. Okay, so I have just created a simple text document inside this project folder. Okay, now we have to let's open this folder. Now see, here you can just continue without using any IDE, without using any other tool, but generally it is recommended that when you are working with projects or project folders, you use some IDE like VS Code. So this is just optional, and if you want, you can completely skip this step, but I'm showing you so that you have a little uh, you know feeling of what actually we do with real world projects. So if you want, you can go and download VS Code on your system. So you can just go to this VS Code website, and here you can download. For Windows we have the installer, we also have the zip that you can just unzip and use. So generally what I do is I take the zip. So based on your operating system, whether it is x64 or ARM64, you can just download the zip folder and then unzip and keep at any location on your system. Similarly, if you are on Linux or Mac, we have all these options here. Okay, so what I have already done is I have, if I show you my downloads folder, I had already downloaded this zip folder for Windows 64 and then unzipped this and then kept it in my D drive tools folder, and you can see this is the unzipped folder, and if you go inside this you will find the VS Code application here. So just double click to start VS Code, and just in case you want any more details or if you are stuck anywhere, you can always go on my website, that is automationstepbystep.com, and you should find this playlist on Visual Studio Code. So here this will take you to my YouTube playlist, and here I have explained, in case you are a complete beginner with VS Code, you can check this Visual Studio Code learn in 7 steps. So this is all optional, I am showing you so that if you want you can do that. So I will open this VS Code. Now the reason I'm also trying to use VS Code here is later on when we make changes with our config files and update it, it will become very easy and very systematic while using a IDE like VS Code. Now here you can open folder from here, or you can go to file and then open folder and search for your project folder and then add it, or you can just drag and drop your folder here. So you can see, if I go to my folder which is in D drive, this is my folder demo project. I'm just going to drag and drop it here and it will come here. Okay, so you can see this is my demo project folder, and here is my document, the text document that I added. All right, so everything is here. Now next step is, we have already added some data. Now we will create a repo on GitHub, and if you want you can also clone a repo from GitHub by using git clone. Okay, and Git commands will work now because we already have installed Git on our system. But let's create a new repository on GitHub. So see, in case you clone a repository, then you don't have to do these steps like creating a project folder, new folder, and then adding data, because you will already get it cloned from GitHub. But in this case we have created a new project, so we will now create a repository on GitHub. So I will go to my GitHub. So I have already shown you how I created an account on GitHub and logged into it in the last session. So I will create a new repository. I will say this is demo repo 2, and the name is available, which is good. I will not add any, or I'll just say this is a demo repo for CircleCI demo, and it is public. I will say create repository. Okay, so this is done. This is created. Okay, and as of now it does not have any data. It's a empty repository. So we have done this. Step number 5. Now step number 6 is from local system we will add our folder or the project folder to Git and then commit the changes and push the changes to the remote repository. And for this, let us see the steps. First is on our local system, we will add the username and email for GitHub so that we can connect to our GitHub account from our local system. So for this, we use these commands git config -- global user.name and give the GitHub username, your GitHub username, and here you can give your GitHub email ID. Okay, and this when you say global -- global, it applies to all the repositories. And in case you want to add this for a specific repository, then you can just skip this. You can remove this global flag -- global you can remove. So for now we will just use this git config. I will go to now see all these commands that will be done on the git commands. It is better that you run from your project folder, although this you can run from anywhere because this is just setting the username and email for git. But otherwise the rest of the commands we will commit and push, that you should run from your project folder itself. When I say run from your project folder, that means here on your command line or git bash, whatever you use, make sure that you go to the location of your project. So let's say my project is on D drive. This is my project folder location. Okay, so what I will say is, first I will say what is the this is on administrator. So first I will change to D drive, or I will just say CD, and I will say I will give the location D project, and yes, I am here on my project folder. In case you are on, if you want to use the normal command prompt of your Windows, so you can see by default it is on C drive. First you have to change the drive in case your project is on a different drive. If it's on C drive only, then you can just say CD and the location. I will say D, and now I will say CD and space, and I will give the location of my project folder. I'll just copy this and give it here, and now I am on my project folder. Okay, now we can continue here. All right. Okay, so I will add this. I will say git config -- global user.name, and I will say, so this is git config -- global user.name, and then give the your GitHub username here. So in my case, it is my GitHub username is demo1 - Raghav. So I will add this here. I will say demo1 - Raghav and hit enter, and you should not get any error. It will just go to the next prompt, and then I will say git config global user.email, git config -- global user.email, and it is demo1.raghav@gmail.com, and this is done. Okay, now you can also check by saying git config list. So I will say git config -- list, and you can see this should show me here. So yes, you can see user.name, user email, and email. Okay, so this is all fine. Okay, and don't worry about others. If you don't see any other things on your system, that's fine. All right, now after this we will use these commands, and now you have to be very sure that you are on your project folder. So make sure that all these commands are executed from your project folder. Okay, so I will say here, let me collapse all these. Okay, I will say git init. So on the project folder you have to run this command git init. This is to initialize empty git repository, and in other words this now means that git has started tracking our project. Okay, so what is committed, what is not committed, all these things it has started tracking. Also, and also you can check if you go to your project folder now. This is my project folder, and if you see, I will say view hidden files. Let me say hidden items. So you will find a hidden .git folder is now generated, and this means it is now being tracked by Git. Okay, so there is no need to check, just I'm showing you. This is what you will see if you have this, if you want to check. So I will just go to the next step. Now we also have to connect our local project folder to the remote repository on GitHub that we created. So I will say git remote add origin and this name. So this is all a single line. Let me correct this. Okay, now should be fine. This is git remote add origin and the link of your repository. So I will say git remote add origin, and you just have to copy the your repository link. So you can copy it from here. You can just copy it from here, this one, or you can also copy from here. This should also work. That's fine. So just copy this and paste it here and hit enter. So this is now added as a remote. So why we are adding this as a remote? Because when we will push, we will just say git push origin remote. So we will not again give this complete link of the repository. I can also now say git remote minus v hyphen v to see the remotes. You can see this is now already added. Alright, so next step is now we will add and commit our data in our project folder, from our project folder. So I will say here, the first thing I will say is we have to add all the changes or everything. So I will say git add, and if you want to, or let me first show you git status. So you can see when I say git status, you can see no commits yet, and all these are untracked changes. So these are not yet added. So to add, I will say git add, and if I have to add a specific file, I will give the name of the file or folder, or if I say dot git add dot, that means every untracked file or whatever data file folder, everything that is there which is not yet added will get added. Okay, so I will say git add dot, and this is done, and now I have to commit. So I will say git commit, and I will say hyphen m, that is to give a commit message, and I will give some message here. So I will say here git commit hyphen m, and I will say my first commit. You can give any message, it should be some meaningful messages in general, and this is done. If I again say git status, you can see everything is now added and committed. Now we just have to commit, but we have to also check the branch. So if you see on my local, it is using the master branch. However, if I check on my repository, here we can see the branch is going to be main branch. Okay, so here we have already done this git remote add origin, we have already done. Okay, just in case you want to do it again, you can try and checking. Okay, I will just paste this here. Okay, yeah, this already exists, so this is fine. I will then say git branch minus m main, and this is what I have also written here. And you can see the branch is now changed from master to main. Okay, and now I can do the push by using this command git push -u origin main, and this is what I have written here as well. I will now say git push -u origin main, and let's see. Okay, this is permission denied, so we will have to check this. Okay, I may have to go to my GitHub, and here let me just go to open a new tab and go to my GitHub and go to settings. So we have our settings here, and here I will go to let me see, we should have developer settings. Yes, we have developer settings here at the end, and then personal access tokens. I'll go to fine grained tokens and say generate a new token. I will have to give my password here, and yeah, demo token 1. This is fine. Public repositories, permissions, generate token, and done. Okay, so that the token is generated. Okay, now I will have to delete my earlier credentials, so that when I push it will ask for my new credentials, and I think this is what git credential cache exit. This is what I use to clear the earlier credentials. And now if I just run the command git push -u origin main, it's still not able to do it. I just believe uh, my remote repository is this fine. Okay, so this is fine. So if I, instead of saying origin, if I give the link of the remote repository, I'm not sure if that works. No, that still does not work. Okay, the problem I believe is this is not my GitHub user. This is a earlier GitHub user, and I don't know why it has not updated it. Let me check. Now let me try here from here. In case it is somewhere in on the system, I will have to do it from there, but to do it from here I will just check this, and I will check why I have to if I go to options and keys, and if I say here, let us say copy and paste, if I say apply save, can I try? No, I was just trying some shortcut for pasting. That's fine. Let me just continue for now. Control plus shift plus V. Okay, if I check this, here it is giving me the right credentials. Let me try this. Yeah, control plus shift plus V is working now. If I say clear and this, and if I say this, and now if I go to this, so this anyways I am getting right, but if I try to push. So that just means it is somewhere on my system. So I'll go to credentials manager on my Windows system, and if I see my Windows credentials, and yes, you can see this is here, and yes, this is the reason it is actually hard coded at a system level. I will remove it, or let me I can edit it as well, so that it does not asks me again. So I will add my GitHub, the current GitHub credentials, which is this is the user, and I will also update the password, and I will say save. Okay, just confirming, yes, this is done. Okay, now I can try. I am pressing the up arrow to go to the earlier commands, and now let me try. And uh, why this is the token password is not supported for Git operations. So should I try to delete it? Okay, maybe this may be because if I think GitHub no longer accepts the normal passwords for this third party. We have to add our token that we created here. So I'll copy this token and I'll go back here. Where is my okay, what is the GitHub is anyways not being shown here. If I just again check credentials manager and go to Windows credentials, so I don't see GitHub now here, which is okay. I will try again. I will let me exit from here. I will go to my project folder. Let us check git status. Now I will say git remote v, and this is all fine, and I can also very quickly check this. So this is all fine. Git push -u origin main, and let's see. Yes, see now it, because the credentials are not there, it is now giving me this option to log in or sign in. So I'll say sign in with your browser, and because GitHub is already, I'm signed on GitHub on my browser, it should take it directly. I will say use this because I'm already there on GitHub, and I will authorize Git ecosystem. Now it is successful. So now I believe it should, yes, it is done. It has pushed the changes. I can verify if I go to my repository and if I refresh it, and you can see my details have come here. Okay, this was my commit. This is the text file I have committed. Okay, so this is now done. Okay, now see, I'm not editing out all these steps of troubleshooting from this video, so that in case you also face this, you can check this. Otherwise you can just skip this part. Okay, now we have checked the data is pushed to the repository. Okay, now after this we have done with step number 6. We have added our project to Git and committed and pushed the changes to our GitHub repository. Now we will go to CircleCI and we can create a new pipeline in an existing project or in a new project. So let's go to CircleCI. So I'm already here. I'll go to this my organization. We have already created an account in the last session. So I will create a new project, or I can, yeah, let's create a new project. I will say this is my demo project 2, and now I will say we have to choose a repository. Now see here, you can see my repository, which is demo repo 2, is not yet here, is not showing up here because we have not yet added it in our CircleCI. So for that I will have to go to my GitHub account and I'll go to my settings, and here we will go to applications, and here it is. So I will go to configure and I will select the repository. You can either say all repositories, or let me just select the repository and save it. And now if I go back to my CircleCI and refresh, I should get my demo repo 2 here. And now I will say next, set up your config. Okay. Now see here, as I have told you, we should be having a folder .circleci, and there should be a config file there. So for that, either we manually create that, or you can also let CircleCI do that, and then later you can merge the branches with your main branch. So it will create a new branch as we have seen in the last session. I will say prepare config. So it will prepare the config file, and you can see it will commit this file to a new branch called CircleCI project setup, and inside a folder called .circleci. So I will say next, set up your triggers, and here I will say all pushes and say review and setup, finish. I will say commit and run. And you can also check, if you now go to your repository on GitHub, you will see this commit as well. So you can see this new commit, and you can now see there is another branch called CircleCI project setup, and there we have this .circleci folder, and then inside that we have this config.yaml file. Okay, this is the file which is used to run all the instructions when this pipeline is executed. So if I see now here, this is done, and if I go back to the pipelines, if I go to this project, demo project 2, and go to pipelines, you can see this is executed. However, we don't have this branch yet on our local system. Okay, so we need to merge this from with the main branch, and so that we can also get the changes on our local system. If you now see, as of now on our local system we just have this test.txt. We don't have the config file yet, because on our local system we are yet on the main branch. Okay, so I can also show you this from the git bash. I will say you can do a right click here and say show more options, and say open git bash here. So you can see this is on the main branch, and if I say git status, you can see everything is fine. So we have to now check out the other branch that has the new branch that is created, and then merge with our main branch. Okay, so for that, let us see the steps. So make sure that you are on your local main branch. So you can also do git checkout and the branch name, which is main, and I am already on the main branch. Let me just minimize other things so we don't have any distractions. Okay, then we will fetch the other branch by using git fetch origin. So we are fetching from the origin, so I will say git fetch origin, and the branch name, so the branch name is this, the branch name, I'll check again. So this is the branch CircleCI project setup. Okay, so you can copy from here and then say paste here. Make sure they are spelling, there are no typos. This is CircleCI setup. Okay, and done. Now if you check on your local project folder, you can still see you don't have the changes yet here. Okay, I will keep this side by side so at least you can see if you get any updates here, or let me do it the other way. It should be here and this is fine here. Alright, so now what I will do is I will say git merge origin with the new branch. So I will say git merge origin and I will say the branch which is, I'll copy the branch name again. I'll just say here this is the branch. Okay, somehow it is not getting copied. Let me just manually do a copy paste. I'll do a copy and here I will do a paste. Yeah, okay. Okay, okay, there's a typo here. You see, that is the problem. I will press the up arrow and fix this, and also there is a extra space here, origin and this, and yes, you can now see as I do this it has got the changes from that branch. So you can see now we have got the .circleci folder and also we have got this config.yml file. Now if I open my VS Code and go to my project, you can see we have got the changes here as well, and I have got my config file. And see, now it will be very easy to work on this config file on this IDE, and that was the reason I suggested that you can use a IDE. Okay, also with VS Code and other IDEs you get a lot of extensions as well. So if you go to this extensions part here, you can see a lot of extensions to work with config files and other things as well. So for now I'll go back here and this is done. We are able to do this. Now we will update the changes because we have got the changes on our main branch on our local system but not yet on the remote system. So I will say git push origin main. So I will say, so you can also check this if I go back to my main branch on GitHub. I still don't have that folder and file here. So I will say git push origin main, and this is done. If I now refresh, you can see on the main branch as well. I am on the main branch and I have got the .circleci folder, and inside this we have got the config.yml file. Okay, so this is now done. Okay, now let us see, we can make changes and then push the changes and then see if we are able to get the pipeline running. Okay, so let me just go back to our earlier steps. Okay, so the pipeline is running. We have checked that on our CircleCI. We check the pipeline is running, but now we have to check when we make some changes and push, what happens. So let us make some changes in the config.yml file itself. So here it is, this is the job, say hello. Okay, this is the job. and here it says echo hello world. I will say echo hello world again this time, and I'll just save this, Control S, and if I now go and say git status here, you will see that we have modified this. We have to add this and commit. I will say git add dot, and then I will say git commit -m, and I will give some message updated config.yaml, and then I will say git push origin main. Okay, so this will push to git, and you can see as the push is done, it is also running the pipeline here. Okay, and if I go to the job and see the details, so it's saying hello world again this time. So now you can see this is what we do in real world. We work on our local system, we make changes on our project, and then we commit and push the changes to the repository, and then the rest of the things will be taken care by CircleCI, and whatever we have added in this config file, whatever steps we have added, it will run all these steps, and it will take care of the next steps using CircleCI. Okay, so you can see it has executed. We can always manually execute it from here, and we also have all these options. Okay, so all this is there, and then in case there is any error, so if I say here something, if there is any error here in running of this pipeline, it will also be shown here. Okay, so that you can also check. Okay, so you can see the pipeline is executed whenever the changes are pushed to a repo, and if there will be any errors in the YAML file, in the config file, it will be shown in the pipeline status. So you can see as of now the status is success, otherwise it will show error. Let us also check this. If I say name and I say, you can make some changes in the syntax, like I can remove a colon or something, or the commands I can just say, instead of this I can say, or let me do one thing. I will, a good thing is to preserve the earlier files. I will rename this file to config1, and then copy and paste this file, and this file I will rename to config.yaml. This is a good thing in case, just so that you don't miss any of the earlier data. And here I will say, in the command I will say exit1. Okay, now I will commit and push, and see I will go to my command line or git bash. I'm just using up arrow on the keyboard to go to the earlier commands, git status, and yes, you can see this is done. I will say git add, then git commit, and finally git push. Okay, and if I go and check my CircleCI, so whenever there is a push, it will run, and it is running the pipeline. And let's see, you can see it has failed, and if you go here, so you can see this failed. It will show you why it failed, because this job failed, and if you go here, you can see the details. So if I see here, you can see this was the, it is receiving a exit code 1, so that's why it failed. Okay, so now you can see this is what we do in real world. It is very straightforward and it is very interesting. We have already learned how to merge the branches. Okay, now let us quickly see what exactly we did in this demo so that it is etched in your memories. So we went to our local system and installed Git, and then we created a project folder. We can also clone this folder from the repository, or you can create a new fresh project folder. Then we added or updated some data in the folder, in the project folder, and then we commit and push to the repository on GitHub. And of course, we also have to connect to our repository, our GitHub repository, using our Git commands that we have already seen. after this, on CircleCI, we created a project, we created a pipeline, and then in the pipeline we connected to the same GitHub repository, and then we added the config.yml file and added the triggers, and then we ran the pipeline. And now after these initial steps, this is what we will be continuing to do. We will be adding or updating the data in our project folder from our local system. We will commit and push the changes to the repository, and this will trigger the pipeline on CircleCI. Okay, so this is what we did. So I hope this was very interesting and very useful. If you have any questions, if you have any issues, you can let me know in the comment section. I will see you in the next session. Thank you for watching and never stop learning.